Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's 5 p.m. Pacific on a Monday. It's the 30th of March, 2015. So welcome to our call, everyone. This is our weekly call we call GoldMiind. GoldMiind, spelled GoldMiind, branded after our favorite company, which is called RX. And RX is an incredible company. Welcome those of you who are part of our company. Hi, give me a high five. Those of you who just check in on what RX is all about, welcome. This is a call that I do every week with the RX company. This call is called GoldMiind, and we have calls on Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, Friday nights. Seems like there's a call every single night of the week if you want to join in, but my job in this particular call is to teach you how to use this so you can go out and create some more of this and some more health and some more friends and have all kinds of free time and do what you really want to do with your life. I'm the best-selling author of some books you might have heard of before. The books are right over here. I've got these are all the books that I have written. That's Cash in a Flash, The 1 Minute Millionaire, Real Estate, Nothing Down, Creating Wealth, Multiple Streams of Income, Multiple Streams of Internet Income. I've been teaching people how to generate lifetime streams of income for many, many years. And then I discovered RX, and I hope you have too. So if you joined in with us tonight, welcome. Now, remember, the calls that we do here with RX are about how to achieve financial freedom in a shorter period of time as possible. And our goal is to enroll 4 brand new customers as we get started in RX. And as we do, as they become customers and become members with us and purchase their products on a regular basis, we earn a little streams of income, enough for us to pay for our monthly products. So with 4 paying members in RX, you can end up earning enough to be able to pay for your product for free. And that's the first goal. So that's why we call this GoldMiind, because the concept of what we mean by GoldMiind is a person who does that is a person who's called gold. And they've received gold status. So how exciting can that be? So welcome to our call, everybody. Lance says, nice shirt. Yeah, that is a nice shirt, isn't it? And so welcome to our call. According to my little plan over here, it's not broadcasting, so I want to make sure that it is. By the way, so Lance, since you can see my shirt that's online, why don't you text me back and make sure that this can be seen as I'm monitoring it in my little computer on the side. It doesn't look like the broadcast is being monitored. So would you, Lance, just text me back and let me know that it's being broadcast? So anyway, our goal is in this particular call is to figure out how to have the mindset and the network to be able to enroll 4 people in 8 weeks. So that's my goal in teaching you tonight, and my goal will be to help you accomplish that as soon as possible. So as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about RX. This is my before and after picture. And let's see if that can come up. Now, there we go. There we go. So you should be able to see this. That's my before and after picture. Good. Thank you, Lance. You can see it just fine. I got the text. I appreciate it. This is the new Bob. You know, that photo was taken on the left was a photo was taken many months ago, and a few months ago I made the decision that I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to lose 40 pounds. I'm now down 45 pounds. Actually, not quite 45 pounds. I'm down as of today. I am down 42 pounds. As of the end of this week, I want to be 45 pounds. And good. Thank you, Heidi. you're texting too, so I'm glad that it's working. So bottom line is, let's just talk about what I call the what I want to share with you now is how do you get started? How do you get what I call the setup? So this is a little document that I'm going to read to you that I would basically share with you every time we get together. And I'm going to read it. You can read along with me if you like. Welcome to the GoldMiind series. What does it mean to be part of GoldMiind? Today's session is one of 4 lessons in the GoldMiind cycle designed to help you achieve more rapid success in RX and in life. As you might know, the basic process in RX is to enroll 4 new customers in your first 8 weeks in the business. Achieving this is called gold status. For those of you involved in RX, you should know this by now. You should know it should be the major goal. When you enroll somebody, get them enrolling their first 4 people. Help them do what I call find their low-hanging fruit. Now, everybody knows 4 people that they can enroll in some kind of opportunity as good as RX. It's not the easiest thing you've ever done, but it's what we call going gold. That's why we call it gold. When you go gold, it means you've done something that was difficult to do. And you have 8 weeks to do that. So with 4 such active customers monthly, your own monthly qualifying product purchases can be free. If they're enrolled in the right way, it can be free to you. So having only 4 active full members, you can earn enough to pay for your highest quality, healthiest products on earth. Essentially, your product can be free. Earning free products and helping your family, friends, and even strangers earn their own free products is the simple secret to creating lifelong streams of income. Can you do this? Nod your head and say yes. To help you achieve gold status, my goal is to help you do that, and I prepared a series of 4 lessons to teach you what I believe to be the 4 essential skills of all success. Not just achieving gold status. Do you want to be more successful? Do you want more money, more love, more health, and more free time? Well, the GoldMiind skills are the key. And my object is to take you from a frowny face life of lack and poverty to a big smiley face life of abundance and prosperity. That's where I want to take you. And the bottom line is to get you there as quickly as we possibly can. Now, there are 4 principles in the methodology I'm going to try to teach you. I'm going to cover them in about 3 minutes. They're going to be the same every single time. Principle number 1 is to transform is to do. And what does that mean? It means that the purpose of teaching is not just to learn, but to act, to apply, to do. And you've heard the ancient Chinese saying, to know and not to do is not yet to know. Well, what does that mean? It means if you think you know it but haven't done it, then you don't know it yet. As Confucius himself said, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. So apply what you learn before we meet again next week. Do it and you'll understand. Principle number 2 is do a few things well. You don't have time to do a lot of things. So you do a few things really well. And so we're all drowning with information. It can be paralyzing, overwhelming. You already have enough to do on your overcrowded to-do list. So the Pareto principle states that only 20% of the things you do, the things that are on your to-do list, give you 80% of your results. In other words, only a few things you do really give you leverage. So there are only 4 essential skills. And if you learn them and do them well, the world is yours. And these skills are the one I want to teach you tonight. And tonight is a summary of all 4 skills. So you don't have to sit through 4 weeks. Because next week I'm going to go into what I call persuasion skills. Like, okay, now you've persuaded yourself. You're organized. You're ready. You're ready to go sign somebody up. How do you do that? Well, next week I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. But in addition, tonight we're going to summarize what I call persuading yourself skills. So principle number 3 is teaching is the shortcut to doing. So every one of you should be teaching what I'm teaching you over every single week. Find somebody to teach, and then you'll learn how to do it better. The shortcut to getting over the fear of doing is to teach it before you know it. In other words, the shortcut to doing is teaching. So the faster you teach it, the easier it is for you to do it. So I'm going to challenge you to find someone, anyone this week, and to teach them what I teach you tonight, and notice what happens. Principle number 4, simple is better. Teach so simply that the learner can easily teach it to somebody else. Thus, the learner is inspired to become a teacher, who is motivated to become the doer. And how do you do that? Well, you're teaching. And by the way, what I'm teaching you now is not the way I want you to teach. What I'm actually doing is just reading this document to you, and you're going to just see a picture of me smiling at you. That's not teaching, but it's kind of laying down the principles that we're going to cover. In a minute, I'm going to show you what I mean by doing it so that it's simple. And simple stands for stories that are stories and images. That spells the word simple, by the way. Stories and images that are memorable, portable, low-tech, and easy, and engaging. So this spells the word simple. So it's got to be simple, images that are memorable, portable. It means you can take them anywhere. You can do it at a Denny's on the back sheet, on the back of a placemat. Is low tech. All you need is a pencil and your brain, and it's easy. Anybody can do it. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to bring up the chart, and then once again, this is a summary of what we've talked about over the last, well, technically 3 weeks. What we're going to do now, let's see, I want to go to, yeah, here we go. And I'm going to share with you, and it's always fun to figure out how to use this technology. Let's see, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to show you. Here we go. Now, this little simple picture I'm showing you right here is something that we drew last week and the week before. I'm going to actually create a brand new screen here in a second that I want you to look at. And it's blank. It starts from nothing. And I want you to be able to draw the same thing. And then we're going to cover all 4 skills. So the 4 skills, I mean, what are they? What are the 4 things that you need to learn? That chart, it was a picture of, what we have done over the last couple of weeks. We're going to take it and we're going to start all the way from scratch, but I'm going to be doing it slightly differently. We're going to take our, let's see, I want to erase that. We're going to take our, there we go. We're going to create a blank screen in idrew.com, and anybody can go to idrew.com and you can do this for free. This didn't cost me anything to use this technology. You can use the same thing yourself. It just takes a couple of minutes to learn it, and you can do it online if you want to. I'd prefer you did it, face to face with somebody across the table from you, so that it's easy to use. But here are the basic 4 lessons that we've been teaching over the last couple of weeks. You just take a blank piece of paper and you draw it into 4 quadrants. And the 4 skills I'm going to summarize for you right now. At the very top, I'm going to write in the word of the skill that we're going to be learning. And the skill is called Imagineering. And what does that mean? Well, it's a word that you would use if you worked at Disney. They would call it Imagineering. And what does that mean? It means imagining things in such a visual, fun, and easy way that it's impossible to forget. Now, I want to make it simple enough that you can do it. Well, it's so simple that I can do it, meaning I'm not good at art, and I'm drawing with a computer, so it's not that hard to do. Remember, down in the bottom left-hand corner and in the top right-hand corner, we want to draw the face that we talked about earlier. And I'm going to draw it in with a pencil, just like I want you to do, and I want you to literally copy what I'm doing right now. As you can tell, it's not pretty, but it's a frowny face of somebody that's living in a life today that they kind of maybe wish they'd had a better life. And up in the top right-hand corner, we're going to draw another face. Remember, I'm doing this with a computer. You can do it a lot better than I can do it. And this is a person who's got a laughing face going on. They're really happy, right? What you're trying to do when you're talking to somebody about RX is, first of all, don't talk about RX. They don't really care about your nutritional products. They're probably taking something already themselves. They may be involved in another network marketing company, or they may be part of the group of people in America who are not taking anything and they don't think they need to. So along you come trying to convince them that you want them to join your network marketing company before you really understand what they are trying to accomplish. You know, it's like a doctor listening to a patient with a frowny face. Would the doctor prescribe anything before listening to the symptoms? You're not going to prescribe anything to your quote-unquote patient, to this person you're talking to this friend of yours. And I'm not going to prescribe anything to you when we do this right here. I only want you to tell me, as I'm talking to you, I can't hear you, but the bottom line is I want you to do this for yourself. You know, how are we going to get you on the bottom left-hand side of this screen to the top right-hand side where you're living a positive life, when you got lots of love, and these are little funny symbols that I'm going to use. You got lots of free time. That's supposed to be a clock. You've got vibrant health. You got a little stick figure here with lots of whoops, let me erase that. I see how I messed that up. And you can see you don't need to be good at this at all. As I'm demonstrating for you right now, you can draw a very rough stick figure. Anybody knows what a stick figure looks like. And of course, you're going to draw some money. And if you've been watching me for the last couple of weeks, you realize that it's pretty simple. I'm trying to say, I want you to have love freedom, time freedom, health freedom, and money freedom. I want you to have a life that works. And we're down here in this life that doesn't work for most people. Their love doesn't work. Their time doesn't work. Their health doesn't work. Their money doesn't work. And they have lots of excuses why not to do anything about this. So this just kind of lays out where a person is, and you ask them 3 simple questions. You ask them to, you know, on a plus or minus basis, tell me, what would you like to add to your ideal lifestyle 5 years from now? Just write down 3 things you'd like to add so that they become real to them. You know, I shared with you, you know, love and relationships and money and body and health and money. These may not relate to them if you use them in your words. You want to make sure that they're using their words to describe the way they would like it to be. So you describe it the way you'd like it to be, you know? And then when it comes to the minus part, what are 3 things you'd like to subtract from your life right now? If you could take a magic wand, let's kind of draw a magic wand with a, you know, once again, see, this magic wand is not much like a wand. It's got the magic tip to it. You wave a magic wand, and what happens? So you could turn this frowny face into a smiley face. What would you eliminate from your life immediately that would make your life easier? You can think of that, can't you? When you're talking with somebody, before you ever go into args, you just say, you know, I've got a few questions I'd like to ask. I hope this is not too personal, but I've been being coached by a mentor. You can tell him my name if you want to, or keep me totally private if you want to. But just tell him my mentor has encouraged me to teach this to other people. And therefore, would you mind if I taught this to you so that I can learn it better? In other words, you're asking him a favor. And therefore, since you're practicing, you're not expecting them, and they're not expecting you to be perfect at it. Matter of fact, they can give you feedback on how you could do it better so that they would understand it better. You know, and therefore your drawing doesn't have to be perfect. It shouldn't be perfect. Now, this is the first setup. Now, the next conversation you're going to have on this same screen is drawing this. And you'll know what this means in a second when we're done. If you've been with us so far, you know that this is a series of, well, you know what, I'm actually going to type what I call it now. I've called it the hero's journey, but I'm going to call it the hero's, and I don't know if you spell that O-E-S or if it's apostrophe S or whatever. I'll just call it the hero journey, so I don't have to worry about spelling it. It's the hero story. And actually, the word story is spelled in caps like this. And if you'll know me, that's going to be an acronym. That's those letters are going to mean something. They're going to stand for something. And when you say the word story, this whole slide, this whole conversation is about their story anyway. And the story of down here on the left-hand side, when they're, you know, when they're kind of got a frowny face, and their story when they have their dream happen and it's real for them. And then the story, it's the story that gets them from where they are now to where they really want to be, okay? And that story is made up of a lot of different obstacles and opponents. You can tell that's probably going to be the O in the story acronym. There are going to be little hills that they have to get over. They're going to be cliffs that they're going to have to climb. They're going to have to go through a learning curve. They're going to have to get out of the whirlwind. And so these obstacles, that as you lay them out, you're trying to let them know that this journey they're going to take is not an easy journey. In order to do the journey, they're going to have to do something heroic. They're going to do something that only 5% of the people ever really successfully do. And 95% of the people don't do it. First of all, most people don't ever try because they are employees. 87% of the people are employees. They don't want to be a hero. They just want to get a good job and work at that job, have a steady paying job for the rest of their life, and that's okay. That's honorable. But that's not who we're looking for. We're looking for people who want to be the other 13%, who are entrepreneurs. They want to be the boss. They want the freedom. They want to earn the kind of income that only that 5 to 10% ever really do earn. They want to have the kind of relationships, the kind of time freedom, the kind of money freedom, the kind of health, the kind of vibrancy that very few people experience in this life. That's why most people have a frowny face and you don't want to be there, right? So there are at least 4 major obstacles. And the first obstacle is this one. And you see how easy it is to draw that? That's the whirlwind. And we're in a whirlwind, folks. The whirlwind. And it's just every day we are immersed in too many things to do. And up here at the top, we have, our dream lifestyle at the very top. This is where we want to be. But we're in the middle of a whirlwind in the urgency of today. And we want the future dream where it's important. We want those things that are important to us to take place, but we're in the middle of a whirlwind. And how are we going to get out of it? How do we escape the whirlwind every day? Well, first of all, you just got to realize you're in it. And you got to place enough investment of time to get out of it, at least for an hour a day. And during that hour a day, you're going to do skill number 2. But most people don't have time to do that. So they're stuck in the whirlwind. And the further off they push their dream, the further off it gets. So if they can escape the whirlwind and they come out here and they start going and trying to learn the skills of being successful, they're going to be a learning curve for them to learn what they want. And it's going to take them to the bottom of this valley of learning where they get worse for a while until they get better. And very few people make it through this learning curve. And I want you to be clear with your brand new person. There will be a learning curve. It's going to take you 90 days to kind of learn the basics. It's going to take you a year to figure out how to be good at this. It's going to take you 5 years to accomplish your dreams. But if you don't make it through the learning curve, then your whirlwind is going to get worse. Your frowny face life is going to get worse because you tried and you failed, and now you got more failure on your shoulders. We want to get you through the learning curve. So come on with us, Now, they're also going to have some internal obstacles. There are mountains you got to climb in your own mind. Like, how do you overcome fear? How do you overcome the inability to just get yourself going, How do you climb some of those cliffs? These are obstacles. You want to have a person tell you what they think their obstacles are going to be. What are 3 things that might hold them back? What are some 3 downers that are going to try to hold them back in this process? And just have them explain it to you, Now, this word story, it's just so for you to remember it. The story is just the steps that you're going to take to get that person, to the next level. The S stands for a word you might not understand, but it's all about this dream up here. The dream in the top right-hand corner. If they don't feel this dream, then they won't achieve it. You need to teach them how to feel that dream. And therefore, the word S stands for sensory, sensual. It's got to be something they feel. Sensory means you got to feel it, smell it, taste it, touch it, experience it in all 5 senses. You got to take them to the dream and let them feel what it feels like to be financially free. Feel what it feels like to have vibrant health. Feel like what it feels like to wake up in the morning in your dream home and realize that you now have the time freedom to do whatever you want. And freedom to be in that dream home with the people you love. To have a lifestyle they can feel, they can taste the food in that beautiful lifestyle, they can hear the sounds of laughter, they can hear the music, they can hear the fireplace, they can hear the ocean, whatever they want to hear. They can hear it. It's sensory in all 5 senses. That you make them feel it and experience it so that it becomes more real for them. Because if they don't, this whirlwind in there, and it's very real. They feel all of that. They smell the fear, they taste it, they hear it, they experience it, they're in it. They're so immersed in it, they can hardly get out of it. Your job is to get them out of it long enough to experience it and feel it. And then to look backwards on today and to ask them, What does your future self want you to do? If your future self could encourage you, what would he or she say to you? Your future self that succeeded beyond your dreams, better than you thought. They did it. They accomplished it. They made it happen. And you can feel what that feels like. It's imagination, but it's real. What would your future self tell you? Now, I did this in 15 minutes. You might be able to do it in less. But the point is, you've got to get your new prospect, including yourself, to go through this experience, because they need to know why they're doing this. Why are they willing to be a hero or a heroine? Why are they willing to escape the whirlwind, to go through the learning curve, to cross over the mountains they have to cross in their own minds, to overcome their own fears, and to organize themselves enough to learn how to say no to the things that are distracting them, to climb the cliffs that scare them so much so that they can finally get to where they want to be, and they can look back on the life they saw way down below the mountain. That's your goal. That's your job. And with every brand new team member you bring onto your RX team, you want to take them through this because you want to know what they want. Your job as an RX member is to teach them what they want, not what you want. You want to show them, you want to learn, tell me what you want to eliminate from your life. Tell me what you want to add to your life. Tell me what the obstacles you think you have are. I know what my obstacles are, but what are yours? Because how can you coach or guide or help anybody unless you know that basic information? Now, on the next chart, the next graph on the top right-hand corner, we're going to draw again those basic same concepts we just finished. It's easy to do. You say you can see it. You can do it badly, like I'm doing it. You literally going to draw the frowny face in, and remember, are we going to draw a frowny face? Well, you know what? I'm going to actually change it here. I want them to be smiling, even in the midst of a world that doesn't work for them. Because if they have a frowny face, they're more than likely never going to escape the whirlwind. Excuse me, I tell you what, I'm just going to draw a circle here. That might be a better way to do it. There we go. I'm going to use the technology to draw. There we go. The bottom line is that was a clock. Oops. I drug that across that one. I don't want to do that. Even though their life might not be as healthy as they want it, and their time might not be as free as they want it, and their money, they might be jammed with debt, old credit card debt that they're still trying to dig out of for 5 or 6 years. In other words, their life doesn't work the way they would like it. But if they feel that, then it doesn't give them the energy to escape the whirlwind. So you got to get them to dream about their happy face in the future. You got to get them to remember what they really want. What do they really, 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 really want? Now, this frowny face, the smiley face is still in the middle of the whirlwind. And of course, hopefully they can remember what it is they really want. And there's a real simple story you can tell. It's a story that Aesop told for many, hundreds of years ago. In fact, thousands of years ago. And he told the story of the ant and the grasshopper. What's the story? Do you remember it? The ant is busy every day gathering up food for the winter and going out in the world and bringing food in for the winter, eating what they needed for that day and saving up for the winter. The grasshopper is just a carefree, happy-go-lucky guy, And he's out there laughing at the ants, and he's saying, come on, enjoy life. Life is good. And he spends every dime he earns. And then when the winter comes, he knocks on the ant's door and says, can I borrow some food? And the ant, according to Aesop's fable, says, sorry, buddy, you didn't save up during the winter, during the summer. So the winter time, you're just going to have to starve to death. Now, that's a very strong statement, but the bottom line is you need to be having a decision. Are you an ant or are you a grasshopper? Now, there were years in my life when I was full of grasshopper, folks. I'm not here to tell you that I wasn't. I was, and spent it all and then some. I'm much better at it now. My wife is the greatest saver on the planet, and she's the one who does the saving in our family. And she is a bulldog when it comes to it. And thank heaven I'm married to this woman. The bottom line is somebody has got to be the ant in your family. And all of you should know how important it is. And therefore, the very first lesson is to make the decision to, as you're going to climb this mountain that we're climbing together. There's the mountain in the background. This is steep mountain we're climbing. The real question is, are you an ant or are you a grasshopper? I don't know how you would draw an ant. Let's just draw a little body with a couple of antennae and a whole bunch of feet, right? And the decision is going to be, I'm not going to draw a grasshopper. I'm not even going to try. The decision, you got to be an ant. You've got to be someone who, gathers and saves, because that's what you do. It's just the bottom line of life. Okay? So story number one is the story of the ant. And this may not happen at the same time that you teach your lesson about dreams. Dreaming and imagineering is a different lesson. Being the ant or the grasshopper is kind of a more difficult conversation with somebody, and you want to challenge that they get there. So that's story number one. Story number two, let's see if I can type in that. Story number two is the story of, and can you tell what that is? Is the marshmallow. And that's a marshmallow you got to get on the road to the top of the mountain. This marshmallow is going to be in the way every way. It's going to be in the way every day of your day. You're going to have to make 1,000 decisions today, and most of those decisions are going to take you away from your goal, your dream. And the marshmallow is a story that you've heard before of the professor at Stanford University who tried to learn from children how they could avoid the temptation of eating a marshmallow that was right in front of them. If they could just wait 20 minutes till the researcher came back in the room, they could have 2 marshmallows instead of 1. And the real goal is, do you want to eat the 1 marshmallow and that's all you get? Because if you only eat 1 marshmallow, you don't get anything else. But if you can wait until just a little bit, you get 2 marshmallows. And do you know what else you get when you get the 2 marshmallows? You get something that makes people successful. Because by waiting, you exercised your will. And your will was the will of restraint, of delay, of delaying your gratification. By exercising that will, you get stronger and stronger and stronger at it. And as they followed those children, those 1/3 of the children who were able to delay gratification, they found that those 1/3 of the children who were naturally good at delaying ended up being more successful in life. Better relationships, better time, better money, better health. By doing that one thing of delaying or procrastinating, they ended up with not only more marshmallows, but everything else that they really wanted. So the goal in your process of getting this will, this magical kind of will, is the goal of creating a ritual, which is what I call the ritual, and it's the overlapping of these three circles. And that center part of the three circles that overlap right there is the three circles are body. I gotta spell it right. Brain, and being. And you're an older adult now. You, as a child, these 4-year-old, 5-year-old kids that the professor at Stanford was coaching and training, he did like 600 kids. And he was able to follow these 600 kids for 40 years. I mean, this is how powerful this research was. Most of those kids, somehow or other, just seemed to have the kind of will that was necessary. For us, we need to build it. And we build it by exercising our body, our brain, and our being every day. And the quote that goes something like this: the will to prepare to win is more important than the will to win. The will to prepare to win is more important than the will to win. So every person who steps on a stage to perform at any level, whether it's sports or politics or music, acting, any great person has to prepare for how many hours before they step on the stage. And when they step on the stage, they're performing for what? 10 minutes, 20 minutes? If they're performing at a concert recital, maybe an hour. At a concert recital, how many hours do you think they prepare to do that 1 hour on the stage? Maybe 500 hours. And most people who want to succeed don't really realize that it takes time and effort. And I'm going to challenge you to do just 1 hour of preparation a day. I do personally. This morning, it was 3 hours. It means before I ever opened a book, made a phone call, talked to anybody, prepared for you on this call, there was 3 hours. And I started at 6 o'clock this morning. I didn't get ready for the day until 9. I'm not asking you to do that. As a matter of fact, I'm just asking you to do 1 minute a day on each of those three things. Just 1 minute. Go stand on a treadmill. You have a treadmill out in your garage you haven't used in a while, or a stair step, whatever it happens to be. Go stand on it for a minute. Don't do anything, just stand on it. That's how small a step I want you to take. If meditation is your thing, then meditate for a minute. If prayer is your thing, then pray for a minute. If scriptures is a thing, then read them for a minute. And then stop. If brain is your thing, then plan for a minute. If brain, you want to do your brain thing, then read a book for a minute. Then visualize your future for a minute, but just 1 minute. I'm going to ask you to do all three for 1 minute. So you have 3 minutes today to do. I spent 3 hours at it, but it took me many years to build up to 3 hours. I'm going to ask you to do it for 3 minutes. And then just notice what happens. That's what I call preparing. Can you prepare? The next skill down here in the bottom left-hand corner is the skill of procrastinating. What do you mean? Procrastinating is a skill? Oh, you better believe it is. You say you're good at procrastinating. No, you're bad at procrastinating. Successful people are good at procrastinating. What do? Well, the 80-20 principle tells you, and this is the first lesson that you learn when we're talking about this section, is lesson number one. Hold on a second, I've got to erase that. Lesson number one that you're trying to teach here is the simple 80-20 rule. The 20% of things give you 80% of your results. What does that mean? It means a few things you do give you leverage. If you do just a few things, say there's 20 things on your to-do list. What's 20% of that? It's 4. You do 20%, 4 of those things on your to-do list of 20 give you 80% of your results. If you only did those 4, you'd get 80%. Gosh, what if I did the top 20% of those? What if I just did the top one? That would give me, well, the bottom line is, so I can boil the math down to you. If you just do one of the top 20, and you pick the right one, the one with the most leverage, you get 50% of your results. I'm not going to do the math for you here. Just trust me on this. The top 20% of the top 20% is 4%. And the top 20% of 4% is 0.8%, which is about 1%. So 1% of the things you do are going to give you 50% of your results. So did you get that? 1% of the things you do are going to give you 50% of your results. Whoa, 50% comes from just a few. So what are those few? Let's go do those. And let's make sure we do those things first. Let's get them done. Let's get them off the list. So procrastinating means a few things are really important. Do those things. The other things on the to-do list, those other 16 things on the list, do those later. What do poor people do? They look at their to-do list and they immediately go to the things that are easy, fun, fast, easy to cross off their list. They procrastinate the most important things. They say, I'll do that later. Therefore, they are bad procrastinators. A good procrastinator looks at the same exact list, looks at the 20%, looks at the 80%, actually creates their to-do list that way. They ask themselves the question, is this a 20 or an 80? If it's a 20, they write it at the top. If it's an 80, they write it at the bottom. The 20, they do those first. And they procrastinate the 80. The difference between the 80 and the 20 is the difference between moving towards your dream or moving away from your dream. So lesson number one in this concept here is to make sure that you are a good procrastinator. You're going to procrastinate. You have to. The lesson number two is the Steve Jobs story. And Steve Jobs said, I want to take 100 top people with me. If the company fails, if Apple fails, we're going to have a retreat with my top selected 100 people. Imagine if you were selected by Steve Jobs to be one of the top 100 people in his company, that if the company were to fail, these are the ones he'd put in the lifeboat as the company sank. Then they had a retreat with them, and he asked them, what are we going to do next year? They argued and fought and finally came up with a list of 20, and he told them to narrow it down to 10, and finally they narrowed it down to 10, and at the final session of the retreat, he took his black pen out and he crossed off the bottom 7, and he said, we can only do these 3. Only these 3. Your job is to discover what are the 3 things that you'll Steve Jobs it. You'll say, these are my 3. These are the ones you're going to do this year. And you're going to call them your dones. What is a done? It's something you've decided that will be done. Not that you're going to do, not that you want to do, not that you will do, but that are done. When you say they're done, it means these are the 3 you have chosen. You've actually procrastinated everything else. You've said only these 3. And you've decided as you go through the, whoops, hold on a second. As you're climbing your mountain, and as you're going through the learning curve and climbing up through the various different obstacle courses that you get to your top of your mountain, it's a tough climb. It's not easy for you to get to the top there. For us to draw a stick figure of you, having reached the summit of your mountain with your arms in the air, celebrating, do you know how you're going to get there? You're going to get there by saying the word no a lot. It's going to be a very big part of your vocabulary. You're going to love that word no. You have to say no a lot. And what's going to happen on your trip is you're going to be distracted. There are going to be these little side detours. And this little spot right there between the yes and the no, that spot right there is a critical spot. Since you make 1,000 decisions a day, do you know what percentage of those decisions are going to take you toward your dream? On the path up to the top, what percentage of those decisions are going to take you away from your dream? That's the question. It always boils down to that question. Some decisions will take you toward. Some decisions will take you away. Of the 1,000 decisions you make today, if you clearly know what your dream is, you see why it's important to have a dream? If you don't know what your dream is, then when a decision comes to you, you won't know whether it takes you towards or away from your dream. So you'll just go with whatever works in the moment. But when you know what your dream is, you can make a decision. And a simple question, does this take me toward or away? Well, if you have 3 dones that you need to get done this year, then you'll know, will they take you closer towards a done, which takes you closer towards your dream, which takes you closer towards a lifetime that matters? Or if you don't know your dones, these are things that you have decided must be done this year, then you're not quite sure whether it'll take you toward or away. You see, haven't really set some things in stone. Like I said in stone, I must be president by convention. It's done. I said in stone, I must be 200 pounds by the 1st of February. I already did that. It's done. I'm at 193 today, and I'm going lower. But my done is done. It was done because I made it a done. I made it so done that it had to be done. My life depended on it. That's how serious I was about it. You need to be that serious. And then you need to come back to today. And today there are some things you must do in order to reach your done so that your dream happens. One day leads to 1 year, leads to one lifestyle you always wanted. So my done was today. What's my done? Well, my done is to get up in the morning and drink my Slenderix, take my drops like I do. And I do that every day. And I've done that every day for the last 5 months, And I also going to take my Pure Nourish, my drink. I love that drink. I love it. It's awesome. I'd rather have the Pure Nourish drink than eggs and bacon or anything else I could eat. I love it. I'm passionate about it. You know why I'm losing weight? Because I've changed my mindset. I've decided what moves me toward. A cinnamon roll in the morning takes me away. It takes me a day to get back on my scale. And after having failed so many times at it, I said, I don't want to play that game anymore. No, I'm gonna do what's right. But it took me months to do that. So the difference between a done and a must is what you do today. I must do that today. I must drink my water today. I must sign somebody up today. I must do the things I must do. Okay, finally, and we all have 5 minutes left in our sessions. What's the final skill? It's the skill is called, and hold on a second, I did that wrong, so I want to erase that and start and do that again. Oh, and I'm going to erase that and do that again. So sorry. There we go. This skill is a skill, and it's called aligning. What do I mean by aligning? Well, remember last time I took you on a big journey throughout your whole life, and hopefully you're on the trajectory of where drawing into your birthday and your ultimate 100 years from your birthday or further beyond that. And you're on a trajectory, an upward trajectory. Where are you in this trajectory? For me, I'm about right here. I am somewhere in this range. I'm about 2/3 of the way through if I am fortunate to live that long, if God willing, right? And I have had a life of lots of ups and downs, challenging things that were very hard to remember, because they were painful. There were a lot of downs, financial troubles and relationship troubles and health troubles and car accident troubles. I mean, we all do. That's just life, right? And I had a lot of ups too. Now, these ups are what I call, well, actually, they're called driving forces by Kurt Lewin. You don't have to call them driving forces. That's a technical word. You could call them driving forces or restraining forces. There are things that are pushing down on you, memories that you've had that kind of are not good memories. Mistakes you've made. We all have made mistakes, maybe even egregious mistakes. We just do. Sometimes those mistakes are so heavy. What it does is it takes our trajectory and it bends our trajectory so that it makes our trajectory less than it could be. Sometimes it weighs us down so much that it takes us to a life that gets worse and worse, not better and better. And the bottom line is you have to have your driving forces always pushing up and giving you the strength to continue every day, because you want to get to an upper life. You want to get to a better life. You want to have improved your life, not to have made it worse. So the way you do that is all these downs arrows. You have to turn the down arrows into up arrows. This down arrow has to be transformed. So instead of being a downer, it's an upper. You have to learn the lessons from that mistake. And you have to say, well, thank heaven I'm not going to make that mistake again. That's done. It's over. It's in my past life. I learned a lesson from it. I want to move towards my dream life, not away. And if you think a negative thought, does it take you toward or away from your dream life? Let me ask that one more time. If you think a negative thought, does that take you toward or away from your dream life? It takes you away. Why? Because it gets you to look backwards. Do you really want to look backwards? All you want to do is look forward, and you want to be able to remember the lessons you learned from in the rearview mirror. And you said, this is the way I'm going to make it better. And you replace the mistake with a new memory of how you fixed it and made it look better in the future. You say, in the future, this is the way I want it to look. And look forward with the lessons, with wisdom. But don't look back. Looking back takes your eye off the goal. It takes you away from. It takes you in the opposite direction. Don't do that. Do the future direction is where you want to go. And if you ever bring that memory into today, that downer memory, and you think about how terrible that is, then you just ruined today. You just made today a downer. No, don't. You have to have a smile on your face today. You have to have a happy day. Even though you're in the midst of the walls of fear, in the midst of the walls of lack, with a life that doesn't work, you must have a vision of a life that counts. You must, in the middle of all of that, see a brighter future. Through the clouds and the whirlwind that surrounds you, there is a crack, a little silver lining. You can see it off in the distance. There it is. There's the dream. That's what I want. And you have to say to yourself every time you find yourself saying, I don't want this, you say, wait a second, what do I want? I want this kind of life. And I want you to imagine it. And I want you to pull that feeling into today. And I want you to feel it, enjoy it, experience it, smell it, taste it, touch it. Put a smile on your face today in the middle of the challenge. And the best way to put a smile on your face is the cheapest way to increase your self-esteem, by the way. It's just to be grateful. And how can you be grateful when things aren't going as well as you'd like to? I can tell you of 1 billion people on the face of this earth with all the problems you have would trade places with you, would give a kidney or a lung. They would cut off one of their arms to trade places with you and the problems you have. Your problems are what we call first world problems. My wife and I, we're going to a movie, and I bought a ticket for a movie the other night. We showed up there, bells and whistles, had a wonderful dinner, and we show up at the theater, and they say, well, you bought a ticket for the movie that's going to come out in a month from now. And I'm standing there, and have I got a frown on my face? Oh, yeah, absolutely. What an idiot. I had bought a ticket for a movie that wasn't going to play tonight. We were all ready to go. This is called a first world problem. You got to smile during first world problems, because there are people with third world problems who can't eat today. There are people in hospitals right now, all around the world, who are having trouble breathing today. Would they trade places with you? In a heartbeat. With me? Of course. Smile and then say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, and look around you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've got maybe a relationship that isn't working. At least it worked for a period of time. Thanks for that. Let me learn some lessons from this so this never happens again. Look forward to a better relationship. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got a credit card bill that arrived and you can't pay it. That's a first world problem. Yeah, but it seems like the end of the world to you. But, I learned in my first bankruptcy, I only had one bankruptcy, but I learned, it's terrible, it's horrible, it's rotten. And you know what? The very next day, you still wake up in the same bed. You still have the same relationships. Life is not as fun as you'd like it to be, but you still have your dreams. They can't take those dreams away from you. Just like the guy in the concentration camp, Viktor Frankl wrote a book about it. He says, you can do anything you want to my body, but you can't take my mind. I get to decide what goes on in there. And if I want to dream of me getting out of here, then so be it. That's my will. And I will to dream no matter what you do to me. Therefore, your will for you to dream is what I want you to do, to have the will to imagineer, the will to prepare to win, the will to procrastinate, to decide what will move you towards and what will move you away, and make the decision. The will to align yourself with who you really are. the things that you are, your purpose in life, what you love to do, what you're good at, what your purpose is, what your destiny is. Is RX part of my destiny? Seems like a very important $50 word, destiny, to link it up with a company and a product. Do you know why it is part of my destiny? This product is helping me live longer. Is that part of my destiny? Oh, yeah, absolutely. This product is how I've lost 40 plus pounds. Is that part of my destiny? You betcha. This company gives me the opportunity to do what I do. I teach. I've been teaching you. This is what I do. I like to write. This is what I'll write about RX. I'll write about other things. In other words, I've aligned my purpose for breathing with RX. And so when I take a deep breath, how wonderful that breath is. Because it all boils down to one breath. You either breathe in and you breathe out. You inspire and you expire. That's what breathing is all about. That's what life is all about. Inspiring when the spirit comes in, expiring when the spirit goes out. One breath equals one life. You want your life to work, then make your breath work. Breathe deeper. Breathe gratefully. Breathe honestly. Breathe as if it was your last breath. One day it will be, but in the meantime, may we breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe as we imagineer and prepare and procrastinate and align ourselves so that we end up with a life that counts. The final thing I'm going to read to you is just a series of questions that go along with our conversation here. Here are the questions I'd like to ask you, and then we'll be done. I'd like to have any feedback you have about any of the calls we've done, by the way, by sending it to robertgrantallen@gmail.com. So I get a chance to find out what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And feel free to tell me what didn't work. I'm happy to hear that. By the way, don't miss next week, because next week we're going to talk about, I'm going to teach you 4 things next week. I'm going to teach you, 4 things over the next 4 calls. I'm going to teach you about how to cultivate a field, how to plant seeds that grow, how to nurture those seeds so they become plants, and how to harvest those plants so that they give you a bounteous harvest so your RX business thrives. How do you communicate with people? How do you persuade other people? I'm going to teach you those lessons next month. Here are the questions that we finally end tonight. When you take a deep breath, ask yourself this question. Do I feel thankful? As 1 minute goes by throughout your day, ask yourself this question. Does this take me toward or away? As 1 hour goes by in your day, ask yourself, are my musts done? Did I do those things I must do today, or did I procrastinate until later on the day? Don't procrastinate them. Get them done. Are my musts done? In day 1, as the day is over, ask yourself, did I put my big rocks in first? Did I do the important stuff first? Did I prepare first so I could have a great day? As the quarter ends, 90 days into your year, am I getting results? As the year is up, what did it feel like to get my dones done? In other words, if you said you were going to do it and it got done, then at the end of the year, you should look back over your year and say, well, how did it feel when I got that done? And that done number 2, and it was done. And done number 3, it was done. You know, you're a done doer. So done it, right? And a 5-year plan is, am I on purpose? Your midlife check, am I on trajectory? Your one life question is, did I make a difference? And finally, the eternity question. After the breath is over, did I learn how to love? Those are my opinions on the questions at each one of those stages along that path. We should ask ourselves constantly. I feel thankful for you and this opportunity to teach you. I hope it's been valuable to you. I wish you well, my best to you. I'll come back out live and say goodbye. In the meantime, we're going to have our conversation starting next week, same time, same place. And hold on just a second. I'm going to come back out live, and here we go. All right. All right. My best to you. Now, without looking at your notes, and we're past the time, so you can hang up. But I'm just going to ask you a question. What are you going to do with this information? Are you going to teach somebody? What will you teach them? Well, it's a lot of information I dumped on you in 1 hour, but they're questions that should be popping into your head. You know, let's see. What's my dream? What do I really want? So I know whether it takes me toward or away. Do I have the will to prepare to get that every day? Do I have the power to procrastinate and to carve out one extra day where during 1 hour a day, I'm going to hit it and I'm going to build, because I don't have more than an hour. Can I build more in 1 hour than most people can do in a month? You can do it if you don't procrastinate. You go and get distracted. Every time you get distracted, it takes you another minute to get back on track. An email comes in, ding, oh, you look over there. Guess what? You're just distracted. It takes you a minute to get that main brain power back. But if you had 1 hour of total focus, broken into 20-minute chunks, you could create a fortune in that hour. Just 1 hour. And finally, as you're creating a fortune, is it an alignment with who you are? Some of you might say, well, I'm not a salesperson. I don't like to sell. Then don't. Align the RX business with the way you do it. Find a way that's congruent with you. And next week, I'll show you how to do that. Okay? Good night, everybody. God bless. See you next week. Thank you, Lance. Let's see. How do I say goodbye here? I just stop the broadcast. Peace.